10 people are expecting a recession and higher prices as 45's approval rating slips. 45 is ending a tumultuous summer with his approval rating slipping back from a July high as Americans express widespread concern about his shitty trade war with China. And the majority of voters now expect a recession within the next year, according to a new Washington Post. The survey highlights how one of 45's central arguments for re-election, the strong U.S. economy, is beginning to show signs of potential turmoil as voters express fears that the escalating shitty trade war with China will end up raising the price of goods for U.S. consumers. That's already starting to show. I've been into a lot of stores lately, and the prices have gone sky high. The poll also shows a schism between Americans' continued positive ratings of the economy and fears of a downturn, with far more saying 45's policies have increased chances of a recession than decreased it. 45's approval rating among everyone stands at 38%. That's still 38% too high, down from 44% in June, but similar to the 39% he had in April. 56% now say that they disapprove of his performance in office. Concern over the economy and specifically 45's handling of the shitty trade war negotiations with China have become a drag on the squatter's public standing, particularly with women. The post-ABC poll finds that 45's economic approval rating has also declined from 51% in early July to 46% in a new survey, with 41% disapproving. His relatively positive standing on the economy continues to buoy his reputation amid public criticism on other issues. In the July survey, the economy was the sole issue on which 45 received positive numbers, with more than half of Americans disapproving of his handling of the immigration, healthcare, gun violence, climate change, and other issues. 45's handling of the shitty trade negotiations with China is a particularly weak spot, with 35% in the poll approving him, while 56% disapprove. While 56% of the majority of Americans rate the economy as excellent or good, that figure is down from 65% in November. A separate question finds 6 in 10 say that a recession is either very likely or somewhat likely in the next year. I believe it's very likely that we'll have a recession next year. That fear compares with 69% who said a recession was likely in the fall of 2007, shortly before the recession began later that year. Separate national surveys by the University of Michigan and the Conference Board found consumer confidence fell in August, driven by lowered expectations for the economy's future. But as with the post-ABC poll, ratings of the economy remain positive. Fears of an impending recession have taken hold across much of the political spectrum, amid a slowing pace of job growth and the emergence of an inverted yield curve in the U.S. bond market that we had last month. The stock market has gyrated wildly in recent weeks, with some investors seeing last month's bond market developments as a harbinger of a recession. 45 has taken an erratic approach in response to the economic turbulence, attacking his hand-picked Federal Reserve Board chair, floating and then abandoning plans for a new tax cut, and facilitating between praising and pillaring Chinese President Xi Jinping amid an escalating shitty trade war. The squatter has also sought to talk up to the U.S. economy and praise his handling of it, while casting any talk of a slowdown as mere politics. Our economy is strong, our country is great, we've never been in a better position, 45 said in a video posted on Twitter on Saturday. To all American fellow, I say simply one word: congratulations. If it wasn't, it says the economy is not strong, the country is not in the greatest as it is, and we're not in a great position as he thinks it is. The post-ABC poll finds 43% of Americans say 45's shitty trade and economics policy have increased the chance of recession in the next year, more than double the 16% who say his policies have decreased the likelihood of it. Another 34% say 45's policies have not made a difference, which they haven't. Many worry about a personal financial cost of the trade war, with 6 in 10 saying that they are concerned that the current dispute with China will raise the price of things their family buys, including 1/3 who are very concerned about this. Hold on a second. There you go. While Americans have increasingly viewed the economy through a partisan lens, Democrats and Republicans disagree about the current strength of the economy than at any point in more than a decade. 9 in 10 Republicans say the economy is excellent or in good shape, which it's not. Compared with the 33% that of Democrats, the 57-point partisan gap is far larger than any seen previously during the 45 administration, or during the Obama administration, in which the largest divide was 43 percentage points. But among political independents, rating for both the economy and 45 have sagged. A slight 52% majority currently rate the economy as positive, down from 66% in November, and 6 in 10 think a recession is at least somewhat likely in the next year. Independents split on 45's economic stewardship, with 46% approving and 46% disapproving, which is a backslide from July, when approval outpaced disapproved by 12%. Nearly 6 in 10 independents disapprove of 45's handling of trade negotiations with China, and a similar share are concerned about the shitty trade dispute raising prices for things that their families buy. 45's overall approval rating among independents is deeply underwater, with 36% approving of his performance and 50% disapproving. I said even with 36%, it's still 36% too high. That compares with the narrower negative split of 43% approval to 54% disapproval 2 months ago. The poll finds a persistent and large gender gap in views of Trump, and 45. Women give him some of his lowest approval ratings and express elevated concern about the economy. Only 30% of women approve of his job performance, which they should be ashamed of themselves, with 64% disapproving. Men are evenly split, 47% approve and 47% disapprove. Nearly 2/3 of men say the economy is in good and excellent condition, compared with just under half of the women. But there is a little gender gap in concerns about a recession. 57% of men and 62% of women say it's likely. Concerns about tariffs raising costs differ sharply among partisan lines. More than 8 in 10 Democrats say they are concerned that the trade dispute with China will raise the price of things their family buys, compared with about 3 in 10 Republicans. But sizable shares of 45's core supporters say they are worried about price increase because of tariffs, including 55% of whites without college degrees, 54% of people living in rural areas, and 45% of white evangelical Protestants. Concern rises to about 6 in 10 political independents and people living in the suburbs, 2 key swing voting groups, in a trend that has persisted throughout his administration. 45 receives some of his lowest marks from minorities among non-whites as a whole. 21% approve of 45's job performance, while 71% disapprove. His approval rating among whites is 40%, while 47% disapprove. The post-ABC News poll was conducted by telephone from September 2nd to September 5th among a random national sample of 1,003 adults. 65% of whom were reached on cell phones and 35% on landlines. The margin of the sampling error is plus or minus 3.5 percentage points. The error margin is 4 points among the sample of 877 registered voters and is larger for other subgroups.